Hi class, this is your video feedback for your website. I've been looking at these since Sunday and I want to go through as quickly as I can just to honor your time and see if I can offer some tips that I'll say less and less as we go through them because I may have already touched on a point, but let's jump right in. So Warren, I really like what you've done. Your photo up here, um, it's all right that it is on each page because it doesn't take up a lot and it gets us right into your content. Even though this banner stays the same and is a photo, it doesn't take up so much space that we have to scroll down to begin to find our content. The logo, I think that maybe the W could be blue, or in some way tie this back into your portfolio theme. Make sure it blends. There's a lot of space here that needs to close up. Probably I would try and put this up here with your photo. You've got some space here. And then bring all this up a little bit. That's one thing I would do. I like that your navigation is clear. I would put your About Me next to the home page and the contact where the About Me is now. I would just swap those. I would also put your testimonial probably after blog. So I would say home, About Me, real, blog, testimonial, and then contact. I think that that would be how users would be looking for information. And that's what you want to think about, the user's experience. So the contact, again, I would do the same thing. I would have the logo in the same place, but not front and center here because we're looking for contact information. So you really want it to look a little bit more like this when we open it and bring all this up. So that's what I would do with that. I love this photo. It's such a strong image. Perfect as far as photography. Love it. Laid out well. And I like how your lettering lines up with each page. It is in the same place. We'll look further at that kind of headings, but that's something to watch for, and you did it well there. Your reel shows your demo reel. Looks very nice. You've given a little bit of context, and that's important. People want to know why they're looking at it, what role did you play, and what purpose was this reel for. Love these photos. Excellent. She is a great model for you here, and I would continue along this path to encourage you to have as many great stills as you can as well as videos. It's good to put fewer than more and only show your best work, and I feel like that's something you've done. All right. The only thing I would do here is probably take the dates off because you may or may not have time to go back and post regularly, in which case not having a date will not make your content less relevant. It will be more relevant if you leave a date off so that it looks like you are keeping up with the blogging. Something you want to do at least monthly, if not weekly, or twice a month. But I understand it's very difficult for people to do that, especially as students. But think about that. If you're not able to post, then try and leave the date off of your posts. All right? When you're About Me, it's all good. I would try and pull this one line, one word up, edit so that it's not by itself. And I would bring this over and align it to the left as you did with your testimonial, which looks so great. Okay? And like I said, I would move the About Me to beside the home page. Okay, so these are things to think about. You have color images, except this is black and white. You might want to put a soft color image up here. Something to think about. Always make sure your images are sharp. Again, I go back to this, very sharp. All right, good work. All right, John, I had downloaded your resume. A little long, but it looks good. You'll want to also have a one page. I know it's difficult with more experience. As we get older, we have a lot of things to try and sift through for our resume, but that's something you want to do. Okay, so let's go back to your home page. All right. The first thing that I notice is the space that is over here prior to the beginning of the content. So we really want it to be more like here or here where it starts, so we immediately know what page we're on. The way you can do that, this is duplicative, so removing one of these would work. Lining up your navigational links beside your logo will also buy room for you. You can also use your home as maybe enlarging the word welcome and just bringing all of that home. You may not need this term here. You can bring all this up. All right, that's what I would do. It's a very common mistake that I see, and I call it a mistake because we, as users, we don't want someone to need to scroll through to find the content, and we want them to know that the change has been made to a different page, which means we need to see the big difference. Sometimes we don't see the difference if we've got content below the fold, as it's called. This is your main area, your best real estate, so use it for the content. About, again, you can bring this up a little bit. If that were moved to the top somewhere, this is different than one that we had seen. Gets small, it works all right, but I would move it up. This can come up and flush with this at the top and align with that. I like the image, and I think it's just enough content. So yeah, great image. Looks good with your background. I would bring all this up and match that across. Okay, your portfolio page, you can see, not necessary to have that. You can have these two subpages, and that will be sufficient. There is, if I were to come to this page, I wouldn't have a lot of reasons to stay on this page, so it's not really necessary. You could do away with that page. Start out with film or photography. You have great work here, and I like that you have your context to tell us what it was for, and it's important to do that and let people know what your role was in a film. So add anything that is important as far as editing and shooting and lighting, so they know what you did. Again, bringing all this up, although we can see that we're have content here. This is valuable space that we can be using for our content. Okay. Photography, loved your images, looked at those and thought they were just great. It made me think that perhaps you should look at a photography theme website, check out other photographers and see if there's a theme that really showcases your photography, and gravitate to those themes because your photography is especially strong and you have a lot of it. Great photo here, love it. Nice work here. You can close up some of that space and so forth, but really great. Again, same issue. A lot of space is not really used for your content, which is the most important thing. Contact, again, this isn't necessary here. I have seen it there. I don't know if it's in the instructions, but either way, it would be here. If it weren't here, it'd still be on your contact page. And I did look at your resume. So I like that the submit is easy to find. So other, let's see your blog again. Okay. So this is really interesting, an interview with Ken Burns. Again, I kind of want to get straight into your work, right? So that I don't want to beat that horse. That's really the only thing I have to say that I would work too much on is pulling up that space. Otherwise, terrific job, great photography. Look at a theme that really showcases photography. Jacob. Here's another case where we have a very powerful image. I know a lot of the themes do that, but loved this photo. And so I would rather than have someone click to go to the photo, I would love to see some of that in this page so we know the page has changed. If we look here, we have to kind of scroll down to see that we're on a different page because this is still consistent. This image could change, and that's true for all of you. This particular image that you have may be a great photograph. Make it change a little. Look at Full Sail's website and how they do that. Go ahead and have another kind of photo there so the user knows they're now on a different page. The logo, I would probably take this box off in this case. There's a lot of space around it, and I would try that. If By the River Studios is going to be your name, you might need a logo for River Studios. Just some thoughts there. I would bring this image over to the left, otherwise it's all good here. Your reel, again, I have to scroll to get to the meat of the page, so this should come up a little higher. It's not required to have this image on every page. So I would think about that. And I've mentioned about your photography. Testimonial. This is nice. Jessica doesn't have to say that you're her husband. It's not required. She can still give plenty of input about your work. She can say she's a collaborator with you. She's your partner, your business partner, because she is, I'm sure. Anything you want, but she doesn't, and she can leave it this way too, but she probably has her own credits that she has for herself that she could start with, as opposed to just being your husband. Not that that would be a small gig, but I'm just saying, let her have something here that discusses what she's about a little bit, and then she can go into recommending you. Okay, so again, with the logo, I would make it a little smaller, and I would think about how to get your logo up at the top and out of the way a little bit. Okay. And that will reduce well, that logo. This is good. I like that you've got your titles right away. Again, the same thing that's been coming up is try and pull your main content up to the top a little more, whatever it takes to do that. This is good. This is all clean, and you're not wasting a lot of space here with this. So that part's good. Your sequence of subpages is fine. And so all in all, really good. Some minor tweaks and things to just think about. Okay, good job, Jacob. Timothy, I loved this the minute I saw it. I loved primarily the colors, these colors here. Again, same thing. It takes up the primary real estate, so you might find a way to use these colors. I'm not sure search is required for what you're doing, because I'm not sure they know what they would be searching for unless it was certain skills, and that's going to be on your resume. So I'm not sure I would put that here. I would stick to these colors. If you're going to have a background color of something, this is fine. But say you had something else here and you wanted a color, I would pick up one of these colors up here in your logo highlight. Again, same thing. I like the treatment that you have. This is a great photo. It's a great testimonial. I like the way it reads. The only thing is, again, we have to scroll down to see that we've changed pages. The only thing that tells us we have is this header as we look through. Okay? So I can see if I'm looking for this, but your user isn't necessarily looking for that. Kudos that those line up in the right places. Okay, I was just looking to see if there's a discrepancy in your text. but there's not. Good. So you can see that the page otherwise isn't changing. And that's okay, but it needs to be a, a smaller percentage of your page that doesn't change. Uncategorized, if there's any way to get rid of that, if nothing else, make it the color of your background. Because coming up on something that says uncategorized, I don't know that it's something that you mean for me to see or that it's under construction. I'm not sure. I love the way these are broken out into separate. I love this. This background, for example, and this background, the yellow, I wouldn't introduce the yellow for this. I would keep it to this teal color or this smoky kind of magenta here. All right, if I were you, because I think it works really well. So you might have to bring this over to the side, bring all this up. I'm sure you can come up with a plan. That's just what I would do, and what your user is looking for. Otherwise, you've got everything in a great sequence. That's all good. The pages look good. They're clean. Just a few tweaks. And again, I loved the way this looked when I opened it. But as a user, it needs to come up, okay? So excellent job, though, Timothy. Looks awesome. Josh. Okay, so the first thing I thought of when I was looking at this was perhaps your logo could replace this. Maybe even this style of font, if you want to stay with the theme. You would just make it on one line. That might work. I think having it here and having it up here is duplicative and not required. Takes up space that you can use, that you need. And then you can bring this over to the left here and have more of your content right there. This, if you want to have an added subpage for graphic design, that might go there. Otherwise, and you could have some context as to what it was for. But that's what I think should happen. This doesn't appear to link to anything here. All right. I think it does. It may link out on another page. This is all great. If you want, it doesn't bother me, but if you wanted, you could bring this over and align with that, but it's not really necessary. It may look better this way, actually. So this is all good, and you do get to see this, what we're about here, and that's all good. While I'm on it, this thing that is consistent this is a little hard to read. It may be because it's a serif, but work with that. Maybe an all caps sans serif with your logo text here would be nice, but it's falling away and it's conflicting with this image that you have. The image you have is fine. It's not taking up too much space. We are still able to get in pretty quickly into your content, and that's what's really important. Your sequence of your navigation is all fine. One of the things I would do, okay, I think this one needed a label. These have their names of a little description of the work. This one didn't have that same style. But what I would do is, if you're going to have portfolio and reel, I would still put reel underneath, video reel underneath portfolio, or just omit portfolio and put this under reel and have your photography and your video. But probably, if you want to put it under project or portfolio, you could have video reel and your photography, and then if you need to, another subpage for graphic design, because that's also something that is very useful in the field. I like the way this looks. You seem to have it somewhat kept up. It's only a month off, but again, life gets busy. Either post a couple of times a month or remove that. You can also have feeds come in, well-designed feeds come into your blog. Things to think about. Okay, this is a little different than your About page as far as your photo comes in on your About page a little bit. I think it's nice to have those similar. Other than that, yeah, that's good. So same thing here. If we have your name here, we don't really need to have it duplicated here. I would bring this over, content, and just see what that looks like up here in that font. All right. Otherwise, great job. Very clean and well on your way. Good job, Josh. Lance, fell in love with this picture. Absolutely love it. Your navigation pages are in a great order. I like that you had artwork. One of the things that immediately strikes me is the change in fonts here. I think you'll be better off having them also aligned to the left and more consistent. So I would choose one font rather than these two different fonts, even though I know that you have this. This will actually look stronger when you couple it with a very basic body of text. Okay, so that's what I would definitely do. Here, I would link this to your artwork or something because it's either a heading or a link, but important to have something there. It looks like it should be taking me somewhere. Okay, again, this is such a fabulous photo, but we don't get in, your picture is cut off, whereas I'd like to see it, a little higher up. You could do that a few ways. You can just take a portion of this, but you don't have to include this. Now when we get to, and also your images that you have for your testimonial and for your profile photo, I would make them consistent. So whatever treatment you give yours, I would give to your testimonial photo. They're a little different right now. This one has the airbrush silhouetting, and I would do something about that. This, when it clicks out to his LinkedIn, we don't really have any other way to get back to you except to hit the back button. So I probably would take that off, frankly, for your website, unless wherever you're linking out links you back to your page. And I don't think that his LinkedIn does that. And if so, it won't be very evident. So that's one thing I would do. I like to see these match. If I've got a black and white here, I like to see a little more black and white. It could have some color, but a little more gray and black to match this. Now, when you get to your media, and I like that you call it media, that's one way to summarize everything. And I do like your work. I've been looking at it, and I enjoy the work quite a bit. I think for photography, it makes good sense to have this image there. You've got wonderful photography, and they're labeled. But again, we barely see it when we come to the page, except for this, which we've already seen. Now, so I would find a way to bring that up. And again, if you have strong photography, look at a media, look at a theme that's going to really enhance that. I thought these were charming, and probably I would do something, if you wanted to have an image like this, I would probably render this in this style so that, and you could even take it into Photoshop and give it a painterly style, so that we know we're on a different page and that it has something to do with the rest of the work and connects it, and we feel like we've already begun the content here. So we've talked about that. A little bit about the logo. It could reduce. It's very sizable and scalable. You could put it a little smaller. I like the way you have all your links here. And the resume, the thing I would say is that you have a lot of different interests. This is more like a graphic design I don't know if I showed you picture chart, but you might look into something like that because it's a little bit like, and I think you would like this. I think it's a little bit like an infographic. So look at some of those sites online for free where you can make free infographics and see if you can lay out your resume the way you like it. Currently, yes, this is more like a flyer. And yours is going to be a matter of editing, whereas you don't have to include everything on the same project. You can have lots of different projects, and that's what I would recommend you do. But try putting things into an infographic because I think you'll like it and it will help organize all of it in a fun way for you. Okay, great work this week and this month and throughout. So good job, Lance. Jason, very clean. I like this very much. I think I would recommend that because I also like your resume, the color scheme you have. You have a yellow orange with that, which is over here, so everyone can see. I would focus on matching your website to that. So either your resume, this color blue, or this perhaps in a yellow. That will help keep it consistent. Same thing here. Our content isn't beginning till way down here. All of this can be brought up. Your navigation can be brought up. This can be much smaller. The contact can be smaller. We have it twice here. So those are ways to pull the information up higher, which is what you want to do. Same thing here. It's just a lot of space here before we get into our content. Okay, I like the way this is laid out. I immediately see a title and know that it's a blog. Again, you can leave the dates off if you want to. Typically, I don't mind. If you're a blogger, if that's going to be a really important part of your work or as a writer, then certainly have it second. But otherwise, I would put it closer to the end and the About Me next to you. Your reel is really important. But again, this doesn't bring us into your work well enough. It's too much of a heading there, okay? So that will be a little more front and center. Again, the photography, look at a theme that, I know these have slideshows for these images, but find something that really highlights your photography, really showcases that a little more, okay? Same with video. You know, this is a really interesting page here, but we don't see it very well until it's down here. Okay. Basically the same thing. You've got a lot of great content. Just bring some of this up and close up some of this space that is not really telling them anything about you. The user isn't finding out about you in that way. Same here. This should be more like this when we come up on the page, okay? You can still have all of your navigational links up at the top, and you could have a title still, but you know, enlarge this, whatever you need to do, but that's what needs to happen here. And we looked at your contact, so this looks nice. You have it here. It's all very good. If you were able to just perhaps make the whole thing with your name here, but maybe it gets a little tight, but this could be brought up. So overall, really clean, love it. Just need to bring those things up. That's all. All right, great job. Okay, Jeff. Let's see. I like the calendar. Same thing here. You have the same image every page, and it's except, well, this is good because this is front and center, isn't it? I would think about making this text for your logo, this text, because this is more of a calligraphy and old world, and this is more modern. So I would adjust one or the other and be consistent. Probably at this point, it would be easier to adjust the logo. Okay. I like this. See how clean this is? It's right here when you come up. Excellent. The photography less so. This changes format a little bit from what we have here and here. And so I would make the photography page more like this, and you could space them out, maybe 3 up. But that's what I would do. Testimonial looks great. It's in the same font. This one is a little larger, it looks like. I could be wrong. Okay. And so here we are at the blog. This I like. It seems responsive to me because it goes into 2 and 3 columns if I downsize, and you don't have specific dates. I like that. It's an interesting way to present that. And then you have your older posts down here. That's interesting to me. I probably on this page would say that this is your blog page. I'm sure I would do that. This could be a splash page where you bring people into your work, and then you can move all of this up. This is a lot of misused space. This needs to come up much further. Okay, that's the main content on this page as far as what you're telling people. So it needs to come up here. And if you're going to be using the production name, then you'll need a logo that actually represents that. Because Jeff, your initials are less branding to your production company, and it needs to be consistent. Okay, so I would, and this again, try the script, the calligraphy, if that's what you like. Try this in that way, or just simply go in and change the font to a sans serif and make it a little more modern. This also would be brought up because the space is too valuable, okay, to have blank like that. Okay, so we talked about the lettering. Other than that, great. If you have this content, aside from your resume, your Facebook, LinkedIn, and email, if you have those things on another page, for example, your email is down here, then you don't need to have a contact page. If you have your contact on every page, then you don't need to do that. Okay? What you have here is your resume. You can, add that somewhere else if you need to, but if you're going to have all of your other contact here, now you can have a place where they can contact you, and then that's something else, and then you're using your contact page. But if you're putting information and links and how to contact you on every other page, then no one needs a contact page. Okay? All right. Excellent job, Jeff. Tiffany, love this photo. Okay, the main thing is I would move this welcome. In fact, I would, having looked at it, I would take the welcome out and I would add it to your home page. Just marry that right in with your context here. You could consider going a little pinker with this color. Love this photo. Thought it looked really great. This you could simplify that a little bit, I think. This looks good. Might consider reversing those. Like I said, I love this photo of you. It's just terrific. You may need a graphic design. If you created this, I can't see. I'm not sure you did, but no. Anything that you do that's graphic design, you want to go ahead and create a different page for that and highlight that skill. Make sure this is legible. It might have to be a serif, sans serif, so it's a little more modern, and bulkier so that you can actually see it over the photograph. This is a fun photo as well. You have your social networks. The same thing, if there's not an email category to submit, then possibly the information, if you do have it on another page. Sharing, okay. If you don't, then you do need a contact. I would move it to the end so we can get right into seeing your reel, which is really important. Only thing is, this competes with this. The size is almost identical. The shape is turned, but the size is almost identical. So this could be bigger. That's something, and make it consistent with this one. That's just a matter of setting your sizes when you're probably exporting. Beautiful photography, I noticed. Love it. Looked through that. Again, I want to see it brought up. So whether it's working in your logo, a little less of this particular photo so we can really see your name, and then bringing all the photography up, I think that could be very powerful. I want to see this bird move over a little, I think, so that it's either all not on under the K or all covering it. It's kind of like furniture. You either want your furniture all on top of the rug or all slightly off of the rug. And that's kind of what I see here. Maybe even just moving the TK to the left a little bit will make that a little more balanced. So otherwise, I mean, you've got the hard stuff. You've got the photography down. You've got the ability. So it's just a little more tweaking and you're there. So great job. Very excited about this class and the work that you've done, and I hope to be able to go and check your work and check out your sites in a few months and see what new things you've done, because you're really ready to hit the road running. So very exciting, great work. Congratulations on graduating. It's been such a long road, and you have learned so very much. I've been with that program since its foundation, and it's just amazing everything that has gone into it and everything that you as a group have done. So congratulations, you've earned it. Very excited for you, and let's see what great things you do from here on.